We are educated to understand what is our real identity. The Bhagavad Gita states, within the body there is a soul. I'm sure all of you have heard of the soul. And there's a soul. And the nature of the soul is it never takes birth, it never dies. There's a similar sentiment expressed in the Bible where it says, what shall I do if the gain of the whole world but suffer the loss of your eternal soul? So the Bible also recognizes the soul is eternal. And this soul cannot be seen. Someone may say, I don't believe if something can't be seen, but you can feel it. And the evidence is in consciousness. As long as there is soul in the body, there is consciousness. And when the soul leaves the body, there is no consciousness. Do you agree with that? A dead man, for example, his body is here. You can shout as much as you want. You won't get any response. So Bhagavad Gita illustrates this point to point out that in reality we are all eternal. We are just transmigrating from one body to another body. And if we use this body correctly, then you can have a better reward. So, Bhagavad Gita enables us to understand who we are, and as all of you have heard, as you sow you shall reap. That is the law of karma. Based on how we perform, our future gets decided. So in the Vedic model, husband and wife do get together. They get married. They take vows where the husband agrees to take responsibility to take care of the wife. They live according to religious principles. They can have children. But the purpose of having children also is to educate them spiritually. It is said in an ancient book of knowledge that one should not become a father or a mother till they can guide the dependents back to Godhead. Nor should one become a spiritual teacher unless you can guide them back to God. So I believe today, in 𝐃𝐢𝐬𝐭𝐫𝐚𝐜𝐿, a few months down the road, we're going to have a marriage ceremony in this temple. I'm sure all of you will be invited again for that occasion, and we wish both of them well. In material society, we can see, in spite of our best efforts, nowhere do you find real happiness. If you want real happiness, one should cultivate spirituality. Doesn't matter which faith you take to, but one should cultivate spirituality. Cultivating spirituality means living by the laws of God. The laws of God are described in the Bonafide text. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna states that regardless of what your position is, you can't avoid two factors. One is called the 𝐃𝐢𝐬𝐭𝐫𝐚, which means misery, and another is temporary. Someone may say, where is the misery? I'm young, I have good income, sweet family. What is this propaganda is misery? You may have all these facilities today, but they're not going to remain permanently. Birth, death, disease, old age. Do they spare anyone? Can we have some interaction with them? Yes, no? No. Can you escape old age? No. And is old age pleasant for anyone? No. Regardless of how rich you are or how poor you are. Old age is very painful. I've had occasions to go to old age homes Even as the devotees get old and are residing there. Go to an old age home, you'll see how people are suffering. And these are the same people who at one time were young and active in society. So old age is also very painful. And then there's disease. Does anyone like any disease?
No.
There's so much discussion about scrapping Obamacare, everyone wants a medical plan. Even if you have the best medical plan, does any plan relieve you of pain?
No.
They may pay your bills, but you still have pain. Now in medical science, there's a new branch called pain management. You heard of that? The pain management doctors make more money than doctors in any other specialization. And we happen to know many of them. So I told them, pain is pain, how do you manage pain? Basically pain management. They just give you different medicines at different times to reduce the pain. But the point is, you can't avoid pain. And death is also a certainty. Now, since the soul is eternal, and when we die, what happens? The atheist and the materialist will think the show ends. Everything ends with death. But the spiritualist has a different angle. The spiritualist says, no, everything doesn't end with death. The nature of the soul is eternal, which means I'm going to transmigrate from one body to another body, and the type of body will be determined by how we act. And then it said in the Bible, as you sow, you shall reap. But that is exactly what the Bhagavad Gita says. So it is very necessary that our actions be guided by the scriptures, and our actions be in accordance with the teachings of the scriptures. And then we can also see there are other calamities. Mature nature plays havoc. I was told in California, they had drought for 6 years in a row. There were earthquakes, floods. Every few years, there's a big natural disaster in America. So there's natural disasters, floods, drought. That's part of what they call suffering inflicted by mature nature. Then there's another type of misery. Misery caused by the mind. Is the mind a source of misery?
Yes.
Yeah? Who said yes? Okay, you look very intelligent. Why is the mind considered?
It makes up stories that are possibly delusions.
Good. Somebody else had their hands up. How does the mind give you trouble? You had your hands up?
Yes, the mind gives you trouble by worrying that you can't control.
Yeah. Mind gives us trouble in various ways. Let's take for example, you see a nice product being promoted on TV, billboards. What is mind? Buy this! You should also get it. Am I right?
Yes.
But then your financial manager says, you can't afford it. It's beyond your means. It's for the billionaires. And what happens? The mind puts you in depression. Oh, what good are you? You have a friend. The friend buys a new BMW. And you're still waiting to catch the bus on the road. Or take the metro. Your mind is. Your friends bought a nice car and you're still going around by train and bus. The mind causes. Why do people get depression? As you probably know, depression is very common in society. We have devotees in America who are psychiatrists, and they get paid very well. Any psychiatrist in this assembly? I was just talking to one of our young devotee ladies who's a psychiatrist in a very prominent chain. She gets by $500,000 a year just for telling people how to behave. So how do people get depression? They have very ambitious plans. I want this, I want this. The shopping list keeps expanding. The wish list, I would say. And when it's not realized, then we get into depression. And when we get into depression, what do we resort to? Drugs and marijuana. And now, as you know, marijuana is more or less legalized. If you have a doctor's prescription, and marijuana will cure you, you can buy it from a store. Is that right? In Canada it's legal. So we try these different drugs. We try these drugs, and in the expectation they'll make us feel high. They do make you feel high, but that's short term. They gain you to bounce back. When our spiritual master came to America in 1966 and started this process of chanting, a leading New York newspaper published an article, "Chant Hare Krishna and stay high forever." These drugs can make you feel high for a limited period. But if you chant the name of God and you have the bona fide name, you can feel blissful forever. So people try these drugs, etc., injecting drugs, and you know what all people do in society. But even that doesn't satisfy. Then people think, oh, maybe I should commit suicide. So, as you probably know, the suicide rate is going up all over the world, and it's going up fast, and suicide rate is increasing faster in rich countries than in poor countries. That goes to show that money doesn't satisfy you. But then people think of suicide. We are completely against suicide, where suicide is against the laws of God. And then they get depressed. So if you want to avoid depression, and then people take anti-depression pills. Anyone here taking anti-depression pills? Okay, so they take anti-depression pills. I had several patients come to me. I mean, of course, are devotee patients who sometimes are prescribed anti-depression pills. And we've told them, instead of taking the anti-depression pill, just chant the names of the Lord, and that will give you peace of mind and save you from depression. And as you know, people take sleeping pills. Why do people take sleeping pills? They can't sleep. So the mind gives you trouble various ways. Then another way the mind gives you trouble is a relative or friend passes away. Mind gives you depression. Then sometimes material nature, other people criticize you, you feel sad. So there are miseries at every step. And someone may question, what is the solution? The solution is cultivate spirituality. If you want real peace of mind, this is the alternative. There was a survey done in the United States about 4 years ago. And people were asked the question, what is it that you want in life that money cannot buy? Can money buy everything?
No.
We can buy you a position. You can provide many things, not everything. But you know what the number one response was? Who wants to guess the reply? The number one response was peace of mind. He said, money can buy everything, but it can't buy peace of mind. And how many of you would like to have peace of mind? And honestly speaking, how many of you feel you have peace of mind, you don't need any more? I must say one thing. The audience is primarily Brahmins. Brahmin means one who is truthful. So you all are honest and not lifting your hand. So if you talk to people, whether it's a movie star, sports star, nobody actually is peaceful. When one takes a spiritual life, then even in a difficult situation, one is peaceful. We've heard of stories, we've read stories of sages, but one time had all the material benefits, but they lived a life of simplicity, and holy city like Vrindavan, because they were absorbed in chanting names of the Lord. He was satisfied. So Krishna consciousness doesn't say you can't marry, you can't do business, you can't do a job, you can't excel in any area. No. Krishna consciousness says, whatever you do it in a mood that I'm going to serve the Lord. I'm going to serve the Lord with the results. And I'm going to lead a disciplined life. For example, we in our Krishna consciousness movement follow certain principles. We don't take any intoxication. I mean, is intoxication necessary? Some may feel it, but no. And in fact, intoxication ruins your health. We stay away from intoxication. Our members don't smoke. Smoking is not good for health. In the packages, what do they write? Caution. Cigarette smoking can be hazardous to your health. So we don't do it. The cigarette companies don't like it, but we think it's healthy. We avoid drugs. We don't gamble. Our men don't go to casinos. They don't drink liquor. And they lead married life according to religious principles. So by following these principles, we develop character, we develop the right intelligence, and we get satisfied. So this Hare Krishna mantra means a chant that will give us peace of mind. This is being chanted all over the world. We have over 600 branches all over the world. And why are people chanting? Because it is satisfying them. So, when we chant the names of the Lord, and never get tired. Today is actually a very auspicious day. It's one of the disappearance day of a sage called Bhakti-Vinod Thakur. There are two things, appearance and disappearance, which in simple language means birth and death. So this is a day that is a great sage. That's the plan. We have a great debt to this great sage because he established the pure teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is considered to be an incarnation of God. God incarnates in various forms at different times. These days, of course, you meet people who say, I am an incarnation of God. But the genuine incarnation performs superhuman activities. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu propounded a very simple formula for finding happiness. That is, chanting the name of the Lord. Bhaktivinoda Thakur established the pure teachings, and he discovered the birthplace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he had predicted that very soon a powerful sage will come, will take the message of Lord Chaitanya to every corner of the globe. And that was Śrīla Prabhupada of Honoracharya. So on this auspicious day, we pray for Bhaktivinoda Thakur's blessings so that we can all make spiritual advancement. It's also the Independence Day of Gopāla Pandit, who is one of the associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and an incarnation of Radharani. So we hope that everyone who has come here will be inspired to investigate what is the real purpose of human life. We must answer three basic questions. Who am I? Where am I coming from? Where am I going to go? When you visit a foreign country, what's the first thing they say? Who are you? Am I right?
Yes.
Especially when you come to the United States. They're very scrutinizing. We try to make sure it's a genuine visitor. So they go to turn to the passport. Who are you? Where are you coming from? You identify the place. And where are we headed for? Where are we headed for? That will be decided and acted. A devotee of the Lord wants to see everyone happy. Therefore, they endeavor to take the message of the Lord to everyone so that people can find real happiness. You can achieve all the material success, but that's not going to give you real happiness. If you want real happiness, there's a very simple process. Chant the names of the Lord, be happy. We're very happy that many of you have come here for the first time, and I believe the rest of you come here regularly. Our request is, please pursue this path to determination. When we are on the spiritual path, there's so many distractions. But if we are determined, then we can succeed. And it is advised that one should cultivate spiritual association. As they say, a man is known by the company he keeps. So if we stay in good association, we'll have the right guidance. So thank you very much for coming, and we're ready for the part, everybody. And we'll go to the next part of our program. Before we go to the next part, we'll be happy to answer any questions from the learned audience. Hare Krishna.